My mother was a scientist in the 1970s. Okay, I lied. She was a hairdresser. But that's kind of the same thing, isn't it? I mean, minus the tissue samples and shrunken heads. The woman lived to experiment. And for those of us lucky enough to share space with her in small-town suburbia, she was more than just mom. She was Arlene Scissorhands, the nutty professor of symmetry. At some point during her career as an amateur stylist, my father built a salon in our basement. He installed everything a budding beautician would need, including a salon chair, shampoo bowls, and a wall-mounted mirror that I used to glide my jelly-covered fingers down while listening to scandalous rumors and choking on massive amounts of hairspray. From the time I was in diapers until I was old enough to ride the school bus, the mom squad remained in our basement. They became like family to us, and my mother could not have been happier, because the one thing they all had in common was that each of them was a close friend of hers. They went to high school together, had dinner together, and knew her well enough to turn down any progressive offers she might have up her sleeve in regard to their bristly tresses. I wish it had been the same for me. It was easy for my brothers, being boys and all, but I was the only girl. I had long, straight, mousy brown hair that kissed my back when I walked, and for some reason, my mother despised it. She would uproot it daily into the tightest bun imaginable and threaten to ground me if it ever came loose. On days when a bun didn't strike her fancy, she would either substitute it for a super tight ponytail or pigtails that wouldn't budge. Either way, it always felt like I was wearing a stone helmet dipped in super glue, and I was miserable. In the summer of 1973, there was a power struggle between my mother and me. She wanted to try something new with my hair and refused to take no for an answer. Looking back now, I believe she must have been channeling her inner Mia Farrow because she was desperate to give me a pixie. For weeks, I rejected her proposal. And whenever I complained about the heat, she would laugh maniacally and tell me how much cooler I'd be if I just cut my hair. So after listening to her over-glamified portrayal of movie star madness for an entire season, I finally caved. Seriously, how bad could it be? The morning I gave her permission was like Christmas to my mother. She didn't spray me in the face like she usually did when I leaned back into the sink, and she never once pinched me for squirming. Instead, she smiled as if it were her wedding day, joyfully clipping off the last of my hopes and dreams. I remember looking down with tears in my eyes, watching as the elongated filaments of my youth cascaded down to the black rubber mat on the floor. The battle between us was over, and that bitch won by a landslide. Imagine, if you will, Uncle Jesse from Full House, or Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon 2. Remember the hair? My mother hadn't given me a pixie. She gave me a freaking mullet. My right ear stuck out like it was permanently looking for something, and my oversized teeth had doubled in size. I looked like a damn chia pet with the face of a 6-year-old girl, a man-child with sprightly attributes. My brothers had better-looking hair. It was horrifying, the kind of thing that drives a person to chug a glass of Barbasol. It's a good thing she kept that shit up high. From that point forward, hair was no longer a necessity for me. It was an extension of my mother's fictitious personality. Farrah Fawcett? Brigitte Bardot? I think not. To her, those were styles designed for ordinary people, and I was anything but. For the next 10 years, I was Liza Minnelli, Dorothy Hamill, Florence Henderson, Joan Jett, and Burt Reynolds. And while my mother continued to hone her craft on my resilient short head of hair, everyone else's kept growing. For as long as I can remember, my hair has been a spinning wheel of uncertainty. It's been every color under the sun and each one a different shade of short, but my daughter's is quite the opposite. The other day I was combing through the rat's nest that is her hair. She was whining like she always does, screaming at me to stop pulling so hard, when I located the origin of pain. It had woven itself into her Rapunzel-esque braids, like a crocheted afghan made from recycled yarn. There were tiny bits of blue bubble mint gum plastered throughout her disheveled mane, and no way to get it all out. In the minutes that followed, we both said things that we shouldn't have. Until I found myself holding a pair of scissors and ending our fight in tears. I now understand why Mom cursed my long hair all those years. It wasn't envy or beauty school wisdom. It was pure aggravation from listening to me gripe and moan while she did her best to make me look presentable. My mother was a classic mix of cosmetology and desperation. She did what needed to be done to maintain her sanity and perfect her artistry. She was a beautician. And as much as she might hate to admit it, I know one day her granddaughter is going to look back on this day and think, thank God my mom was a writer.